Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Premier Sim Gaming Leagues. And after two fairly crazy races so far in the top tier on the PlayStation, I think it's fair to say the drivers will be hoping for a bit of normality tonight. It is round 3 of Season 28 at the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. My name is Luke Etheridge, and alongside me, once again in the commentary box, is Dan Field. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing brilliant as always. Today we head to Austria. I'm really excited for this circuit. It is doing 36 laps around here, and we're going to be expecting the lowest qualifying time to so far in short that we will ever see on the calendar.
Yeah, definitely. You are going to be seeing here 62, 63 second lap times easily. It was a 102.2 was the fastest time in F2 qualifying around this track. You can see there 4.381 kilometers, 2.68 miles. Should be a fairly straightforward one stop. Last week's race was anything but the straightforward one stop for anyone who can remember way back 1 week ago to the Singapore Grand Prix. You might remember we declared Vasta Racer the winner out on track, but there was a plethora of pit lane entry penalties. Vasta Racer, Duncan and Matthias all getting caught out with 5-second penalties, which means the winner in the end was Mish after an absolutely fantastic performance from him to take that victory. Great result as well, of course, for CRG Gamer, who came home in second position, and it's fair to say he's not had a bad start to the championship so far.
He's been really strong so far. 2 second places in a row. That puts him at the very top of the standings. Of course, 2 drivers behind him are the drivers who have actually won a race, but it is really good to see that he's had a much better start to the season than he did at all last time out in season 27.
Yeah, he's had an absolutely fantastic start to the season. You can see the standings there. As I said, Gamer on 24 points, Samuel and Mish on 16. Vasta Racer did manage to get a podium last time out and the fastest lap puts him onto 11 points. Not many drivers actually managing to get points on both occasions so far. Only Gamer, Suso, Matthias, Benjamin and Wilson Hughes, our reigning champion, of course, who is not on that list. None of last season's top 3 in the top 10 of the championship. Wilson, though, has managed to pick up a couple of points for his team, and they have helped out McLaren at the top of the Constructors' Championship. McLaren on 27 points, Williams currently on 25, Ferrari on 24, AlphaTauri, the only team then yet to score any points, and they will be hoping that does change tonight around the Austrian Grand Prix track. And with qualifying then just getting underway, let's head out there. Let's see how it is all going. And beautiful bright sunshine. I'm sure they'll be hoping it stays that way. We have, of course, seen some rain in F2. Right, let's just see what the drivers are going to be doing then. Duncan coming out on a outlap. First driver to go for a lap of this Austrian Grand Prix circuit. As Dan said earlier, one of the shortest on the F1 calendar and the shortest lap time. Expect to see 62 second lap times. Maybe, just maybe, someone might creep underneath the 1 minute 1. Very heavy into the curb there on turn 1, coming up through the gears all the way up this hill. 3 DRS zones around this track. Probably one of the tracks where DRS has the biggest percentage effect on lap time. Heavy braking into turn 3 there. That's probably where we will see the majority of the overtaking opportunities around this circuit. The 3rd DRS zone as you come downhill towards turn 4. Watch for drivers maybe just to snatch that front right brake ever so slightly. Duncan, though, not doing that, keeping it nice and clean and nice and steady so far. You're flat through 5, and then this middle sector of the lap, really the main part of the lap, where you need to have yourself a bit of downforce on the car as you come into 6. Then turn 7, flat over the curb at turn 8. Watch out for the traffic in front of you. With it being such a tight circuit and 20 cars on there, traffic management could be extremely important. There's a pit entry line that I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot about in the race if the drivers end up going over it again. And also, you might be hearing a lot about the track limits at turn 9 as Duncan fell foul of them, invalidated his lap. And who's coming in behind him? Jordan sets the fastest time with a 102.474. Now, Jordan, he got a podium last time that we came here, so he'll be hoping for a good performance.
Yeah, and Ashbest just creeping ahead of him, only about 600 for the second. Vasta Racer looking really strong as well. Wilson Hughes going at the exact same time as Ashbest. Wow, that is quite something. Walters going into 7th position. I'm just trying to catch everyone as they're finishing up on their runs. I believe we've got McLaren in the final sector. That's Jamer just about to cross the line here, and he's got a bit squirrely on the exit of turn number 10. We'll see where he crosses the line. It's 2.9 knot time he'll be happy with. Blizzard also about to cross the line here. He goes into 2nd position, only about 1700 off of Master Racer.
Yeah, his teammate Benjamin goes into 11th place then on a 102.793, instantly drops down to 12th. The times will come round thick and fast around this circuit. Casper was 2nd last time they came here behind Danny Moreno. I wonder whatever happened to Danny Moreno. Hey, I don't think he's doing too bad at the moment, and Casper goes into 12th then on a 102.676. So everyone, as quickly as that, has had an attempt to get in their first run done in qualifying, and it is Vasta Racer who's fastest, and you feel like he's going to be hot, heated up after what happened last time. Got the pole position, got the victory out on track, and did get the fastest lap. But a 5-second penalty meant he only ended up finishing in 3rd. And I think it's fair to say he was fairly fired up about that, and he'll be hoping to redeem himself tonight.
Yeah, of course, in an attempt to at least salvage something out of the race and maybe try and take his win back. Vasta Racer did actually end up porting Mish at the end of the Grand Prix for an infringement on the exit of the pit lane. A bit of an interesting one there, but it didn't come to anything. It was deemed to be legal because he did have two wheels within the limit. So Vasta Racer certainly going to be seeking vengeance, I'd say, in this Grand Prix. He's not completely out of the water though. There are some drivers within the same 10th of him, Blizzard and Samuel Bean. Well, Samuel Bean wasn't here last week, and I'm sure that he will be looking to retake another win here. Of course, he won. Sorry, no, he didn't win here, but he did win live round number 1, Bahrain short. He wasn't here last week, so he couldn't make that 2 in a row. I think he'll definitely be seeking another victory though.
Yeah, definitely wanting to show that wasn't just maybe a bit of a flash in the pan. Lee Findlay making his first appearance then of the season. Bit of a shame for Midnight, who of course really enjoys this circuit, was hoping to be able to get his way in as a reserve, but we have got a full grid of the 20 full-time drivers, and Lee Findlay currently down in 18th position. Both of Duncan and Used of course, yet to score any points this season. Duncan was demoted from what looked like a 2nd place last time out. He ended up finishing quite a long way down at the order. Quite a costly 5-second penalty in the end. Dropped him 5 places to 7th. Matthias, he dropped from 4th to 8th. Used got a 5-second penalty removed, but it was only good enough to get him up to 12th place. And as Dan already said, Misha's pit lane exit was appealed. No further action. Suso tried to get a warning removed. There was no further action on that. And a move between Duncan on Mish ended up with no further action as well. And Duncan, I think he's wound a few drivers up. I know there's been a lot of talk about it in the YouTube chat on various occasions, and Connor has kindly put exclamation help if you want to find out a bit more about various drivers. But Duncan, he's been fairly aggressive with some of the moves he's making. Sometimes he's pulled it off, sometimes he hasn't, and really over the course of the season, if you keep going for these moves, probably going to break your front wing a few times.
Yeah, I was speaking with one of the AlphaTauri drivers. I was speaking with Will before the race, and he hasn't been too happy with Duncan's performances, and I think that goes back to Bahrain short, where of course they did have their contact together. So I don't think those two will be too kind to each other if they come across each other on the circuit. But Duncan is on a run at the moment. He's coming through the 2nd sector at the moment, up towards turn number 6, and then turn 7, of course, invalidated on his first lap. But we'll see he's on purple through sector 2, at least on the in-game graphic. But we'll see if he's able to make a push for that P1 position. Currently held by Vasta Racer. He's got to keep it within the limits, and he has done so, running it out wide and then taking it through turn number 10. Almost. Oh, it's a very quick corner through there, but Duncan to P3, just about 3,000 quicker than Samuel Bean.
Yeah, indeed. We've got Wilson Hughes now coming towards the line. He goes fastest, 102.221. Fantastic lap from him. Samuel Bean, he's flying in this first sector of the lap. We've got a few guys really starting to improve now. Blizzard has gone purple in the middle sector. Vasta Racer goes fastest on a 102.109. Blizzard's first sector was a bit average. His middle sector, very impressive though. Fastest of everyone. Let's see what he can do in the final part of the lap. Can he get into the 102.2s? Is a very tiny improvement, but not enough to send him further up the order. Samuel Bean has invalidated his lap. Christmas went into 3rd position. You've really got to have many different eyes, many different places around this track. The laps do come at you thick and fast. Suso is improving. We're on board though with Matthias, one of the drivers to get penalised last time out, but one of the drivers to have scored points in both of the races so far. We said earlier on, very few drivers already managing to score in both races, as Matthias just invalidates slightly. We'll see what Jordan can do as he now comes round the final couple of corners. Could he maybe make it a Haas 1-2 in this session? He set personal best in the first two sectors and goes into third place. So Haas 1-3 at the moment. Wilson up there in second position, and I think he especially, we spoke earlier on about wanting a normal race. He was one of the drivers that was saying, thank God Bahrain Short and Singapore are out of the way. You didn't have the best of qualifyings there, and if you're in the midfield, you can sort of get yourself involved in more incidents. Had a bit of bad luck with various things. He'll be hoping to really kickstart his defence tonight.
Yeah, it's not been a good start to the season for him. He's been really critical of himself as well, so I'm really hoping that he can at least just have a good performance today. Maybe possibly secure strong position, even top 5. I'm sure he'd be happy with, but I know he's going to want to be pushing for all the glory in this one. I'm just noticing on the task system, actually 2 drivers that haven't submitted their information. Player 16 is Lee Finley, and Recon also hasn't submitted his task. Recon's actually just off the line, and he has improved on his lap to go into P10, but yeah, it's not really what you'd want to see, so I think they will have penalties coming their way.
Yeah, I think they'll have at least a reprimand and possibly a penalty, and not really what Recon had won, having no points so far this season, and neither has his teammate. Lee Finley, slowest of everyone that has set a time, used invalidating again, so he's actually still down in last position at this moment in time. Benjamin, he's now heading towards the finish line. Didn't improve in Sector 1, improved slightly in Sector 2, but it's going to have to be a mighty final part of the lap to see him move anywhere near where his teammate is at the moment on a 102.323. And there we see how close his grid is at the moment. He's only 1.5 tenths behind Blizzard, but that's the difference between 4th and 12th at the moment. Everyone that has set a time separated by 7 tenths of a second. The top 14 drivers separated by just over 4 tenths.
Yeah, that is the levels that you do get around Austria, especially in such a close and competitive grid like PSGL F1. That is just the level that you do receive. But drivers on their outlap for yet another run today. I believe the first driver to actually cross over to start his next run is Walters, who in that Renault car has not had a good start to the season whatsoever, finishing 3rd in the championship last time out in season 27. But it's just not been a good start at all. 0 points coming back to his camp, and he's not improving through the first sector. Granted, it is not a sector we can make up masses of time. I believe Matthias has actually just gone purple through that sector as well, so the times are going to be coming down regardless of where they finish on these laps. Walter does have a Williams car just in front of him. That's either Samuel Bean or it is Suso. It is Suso just pulling off to the left hand side to let him through. Walter so coming up towards the second sector split here. It didn't seem like he's too confident through that left-hander, the double left-hander of course. He has found some improvement. It's not much, but if he can find it in the final sector, he can see himself maybe in towards the top 10 coming through turn number 10 now to open up the steering and go flat out on the accelerator to cross the line, and he goes 13th fastest.
Yeah, he does go 13th fastest. Matthias has actually invalidated his lap. Samuel Bean was fastest of everyone in Sector 1, so I wonder if he's got a bit more of a slippery Williams than some of the other cars, and he goes up into second place, 102.209, exactly a tenth behind Vasteray. So we're seeing yellow flags all over the place. Don't worry, no one has crashed out. We've now got one in every single sector, so connect free, almost, if you want to call it that, but that's just drivers obviously getting out of the way. Another lap that Used has invalidated. Duncan goes up into 5th position. Who have we got heading towards the end of their lap now? Blizzard looks like he's just slowing things up all of a sudden, and that's something you can do around this track. You can sort of get away with it. Being such a short circuit, you can, if you really want to, get 4 hot runs in qualifying, whereas at most circuits, you'll only see 3 at best.
Yeah, of course, there is a very short circuit. You can afford to run them all, and I'm not too sure what tyre compounds they are on, but I'm just looking on the task system. Vaster Race is purple through Sector 2. He was down through Sector 1, but he has managed to claw back a bit of an improvement. Here he is now coming up through the final couple of corners, and that is really unfortunate for him. It didn't even look like he was invalid. He did improve. He was going off on 2.0. Wilson Hughes was just crossed the line as well. So to bridge that gap to Masquerade, also jumping Samuel Dean pulling into the pit lane. So time are coming thick and fast, but it seems like a lot of drivers invalidating their run.
Yeah, they are. Simo invalidated his one. Gamer invalidating his one towards the end of that as well. So the drivers are really pushing hard at the moment. We've got two drivers in the 102.1s, Vasta Racer and Wilson Hughes, who I think did both score points for last time we came to this circuit. Vasta Racer finished in 7th position, right back at the start of season 26, the first PSGL race on the F1 2020 game, and Wilson Hughes finishing in 6th place. So they've got a history around this track of not doing too bad. Benjamin, I think, the only driver at the moment that's on a hot lap on a fresh set of tyres, and he's 2/10 up on his personal best through the first sector. With how close things are at the moment, that could easily get him up into the top 5. All he has to do is keep it steady, and you might expect him even to improve a tiny bit as the track evolution comes. Looks as though he's struggling a bit through some of these corners. We've seen a few cars look like they're losing the rear end on entry and halfway through the turning point, whether they're running a bit lower downforce just to ensure that you have got that straight line speed, which you are going to need around this circuit to maybe defend and overtake as well if you do find yourself a bit lower down the field. But we'll see what Benjamin can do as he comes across the line, and he does improve in the end, goes up into 5th position for him, beating his teammate Blizzard at the moment, who has had 2 victories around this circuit, so Blizzard definitely knows his way around. Very respectable lap from the reigning F2 champion.
Yeah, it was a really strong time from Benjamin, especially to get ahead of his teammate. These two have been pretty close on raw pace so far this season. Benjamin just been consistent so far. Double points for him, so I think he would certainly be very happy with his performance so far. Of course, Blizzard caused that safety car last time out in Singapore, which completely turned the race on its head, changed the entire complexion of it really, and yeah, of course that led to Mish probably getting away with the win. I'd say it was very unfortunate that the safety car came out for him because of the gap that he had, but yeah, that did end up coming from Blizzard. Unfortunately, Recon just invalidated on his run where he was up through the first sector, but he was down through sector 2 anyway, so I don't think it would matter too much for him. I think it's the calm before the storm though. 2 minutes 30. We're seeing a lot of action down at the pit lane. A lot of drivers pulling out their garage, and some drivers just in.
Yeah, we are indeed. One of the only drivers, well, the only driver on a hot lap at the moment, deciding to go a bit earlier on, maybe because he knows the traffic is going to be a bit more forgiving if they are forced to get out of the way. It is Will LG. He's gone personal best in sector 1 at the moment. He's only 4/10 off a pole position. The problem is, with a field this close, that's only good enough for 17th at the moment, and you would really want to be starting a lot higher up around there. You don't want to be the 17th man in the inevitable DRS train that we might get in the first few laps of the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's see how he's doing from sector 2. Doesn't invalidate, and he's found another 10 in that sector, so this is definitely going to work his way up the order. Could be challenging for the lower points of the top 10. Could get round about where his teammate Recon is on a high 102. Simo there tries to get out of the way as best as he possibly can, and in doing so he's probably ruined his own out lap, and there we see Will just invalidates at the end of that lap. Would have been good enough to get him into 6th position, but keeping the track limits clean around this circuit, especially coming through turn 1 and through turns 9 and 10, we've already seen extremely difficult.
I don't think Will be too happy with that display from Simba. Not getting out of the way earlier is probably what's going to be troubling him, because I think that must have put him off and ran him wide ever so slightly, but he does have time. That is the beauty of going for multiple runs. He's got time to come across and set another lap. Speaking of laps though, Ash Best is going to be the first one to complete what could be his final run here. He goes into 11th position. Could be the poor-man pole position, something that drivers could aim for around this track. But Simo, purple through sector 2, and he's 2/10 up on this lap. If he can find it in the 3rd sector, he can propel himself right into the upper reaches of the top 10 through turn number 10 though, running it wide right on the limit there. He was probably of getting a warning and invalidation. He goes into 9th position there.
Yeah, 9th position for Simo. Lee Findlay coming around the final couple of corners, sort of a bit off the back of the field at the moment in 20th. He does improve, only knocking his VSR teammate down though into 19th position. Who else have we got nearing the end of their lap at the moment? Jordan comes around the final corner, goes up into 2nd place in the Haas. It's a 1-2 for the American team at the moment. There'll be no need for Gunter Steiner to moan about anyone smashing any doors if that performance carries on from the Haas boys. Samuel Bean's invalidated his lap, so it's probably all over for him. A lot of the drivers have set their times early on as the checkered flag is coming out. We've got a Ferrari heading around the final couple of corners now. That is last week's race winner, Mish. He comes across the line, improves in time, but ends up staying in 5th place. The Renault of Christmas behind goes into 14th position. I think Blizzard's going to be next man across the line. He's currently in that poor man's pole position, and he's invalidated his lap. We won't be seeing any improvements from him. It is Wilson Hughes, next person to come across the line. Does improve. Unfortunately for him, though, he'd invalidated his lap. Benjamin goes up into 2nd position. You can barely keep up with all the cars as they are heading towards the finish line now. Casper comes across the line in 20th. His teammate Matthias unable to improve. The best he can do is 16th. CRG Gamer, our reigning championship leader, he is in 7th position. I think we have got some other drivers now heading towards the line. Duncan has finished his lap. One of the Williams still going around. That's Samuel Bean, who has invalidated, of course. Jordan heading to the pits, and that is it for this qualifying session. And it looks like it is a 2nd pole position in a row for Vasta Racer.
Yeah, it's unbelievable stuff from the German driver, really seeking vengeance, as I mentioned earlier, and just about how close the grid is at the moment. Mish is in 6th position, but he's only 0.08 of a second off. Last time we came here in season 26, the grid gap, Louis was 7 seconds off, but I don't think we can count him. But they were about 7/10 through the entire field. Well, now they're just about 0.5 of a second. So that just comes to show how close and competitive this grid is.
Yeah, so just to give you a clue how close it is, the driver in last position, Casper, he's an esports driver. He was driving for Renault last season, and in this grid at the moment, yes, he's only half a tenth off pole position, but that, unfortunately for him, is only good enough for the last position. It is Vasta Racer with another pole position. He'll be hoping that it stays nice and dry for this race, and he doesn't have to contend with any weather, and maybe, just maybe, propel himself closer to the top of the championship order. He is on pole. Benjamin, great performance from the F2 champion in 2nd place. Jordan, driver who finished 3rd last time we came to Austria, he's going to be starting 3rd this time around. Samuel Bean, our winner from race 1, is in 4th. Reigning champion Wilson Hughes in 5th. Last week's winner Mish, 6th. Gamer, reigning champion in 7th. Duncan, Recon and Simo rounding out the top 10. Blizzard, he's won here twice before. Maybe, just maybe, he could pull it off from 11th place on the alternate strategy. Asbest is 12th. Suso 13th. And then it's Christmas, Just, Matthias, Wouters, Will, Lee Findlay. First race of the season on the front of the back row of the grid. Casper, the only driver behind him. Qualifying's anything to go by. It's going to be an extremely close race indeed, and could well be one of those where track limits are the deciding factor.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is also a circuit where there is possibility for rain, and we had a rainy race last time out in Singapore. Seems like it's nice and sunny, although there are a couple of clouds overhead, so it seems like we are going to be dry running around this circuit at the very least.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone will be relieved about that after those 2 races we've had. The first ever in a main season race anyway, a PSGL short circuit, and then Singapore, where we went to dry to monsoon conditions, back to dry again at the end of the race. Drivers just getting their setups ready, just getting their strategies ready. We're expecting soft hard to be the one for those in the top 10, but those in the bottom 10 on the fresh set of tyres might be able to make a medium to soft tyre strategy work.
Yeah, that could be very, very risky for them, I would say. Probably if they're harsh on their tyres, they might opt for the mediums to hard, which probably is the safer bet, I'd say, but definitely the quicker route would be to go mediums to soft. I would expect all of them to at least start on a set of medium compound tyres, because it does give them that little bit extra bit of flexibility. But we do have a split decision down the order. Blizzard, Matthijs, Will LG and Casper all opting for the hard tyres. Ashbest, Suso, Christmas, Just, Wouters and Lee Finlay in 19. They are all on the medium compound tyre.
Yeah, they have gone for some split decisions, and maybe they'll be hoping they can do some overtaking around this track in the Styrian Mountains. 4.381 kilometres, 2.683 miles, 10 turns, basically the first half of the track is a DRS zone. Quite an undulated circuit. can play a bit of havoc on the brakes if you're not careful. You can definitely end up locking up your brakes. And as you saw there is a bit of a split further down the order. 4 drivers going for the hards. Blizzard, lead car, obviously outside the top 10, and lead car on the hard tyres. Ashbest in 12 on the mediums. He's going to be hoping that he gets a fantastic getaway with that extra grip on the medium tyres and wakes his way past that racing point and sees if he can just maybe hang on to the back of those front guys when the DRS is active. Drivers now then just getting ready to start the race. Vasta Racer on pole position. 2nd race in a row. Can he convert it to his first victory of the season? Benjamin, reigning F2 champion, going for his first win in F1. Samuel Bean and Mish, 4th and 6th position on the dirtier side of the grid. Can either of them make it 2 victories? Will one of the McLarens claim their first victory of the season? And will it be Wilson getting his championship defence back on track? Or will it be Gamer showing that maybe, just maybe, he is the man to watch in the McLaren this season? Every single car now in their grid slot as we do wait for the lights to come on. There's the suggested strategies just quickly popping their way on screen. 5 lights here at the Red Bull Ring. Not held for very long whatsoever, and we are underway. It's a decent start by Benjamin alongside Vasta Racer. He's going to have a bit of his car alongside into turn 1, but it is Vasta Racer who holds on into the lead of this race. One of the McLarens already having to skip slightly over the escape road, but it is Vasta Racer, Benjamin, Jordan, Samuel Bean, Wilson, as you were at the front of the field on that one down towards turn 1, and everyone has managed to get through those corners quickly. Wilson Hughes trying to go all the way around the outside of Samuel Bean, not able to do so. Duncan off track there as he was trying to get ahead of Game. I'll be very surprised if the game allows that to stand, but everyone has got through that first part of the lap cleanly. There's some battling going on in the background as well. You sending one on the inside there of Christmas. I think he's managed to get that move done. It's not been any damage whatsoever further down the order on this first lap of the race. Hopefully everyone's got through nice and cleanly. It's quite a short pit lane here, but you don't want to be picking up damage whatsoever and doing an extra unnecessary pit stop. Gamer's trying to go alongside Mish here into turn 9. If he's got all his car alongside, he might be able to make that move work. Great move from the McLaren driver. Championship leader then up into 6th place, but it's as you were at the front of the field. Vasta Racer by Benjamin, by Jordan, and actually very surprised for a first lap around this track, Dan, that we've not had anyone break their front wing.
No damage whatsoever throughout the grid. Beginning lap number 2, DRS not enabled just this moment, as the timing glitch does like to fix itself as soon as they cross into the 2nd sector split. But yeah, it's been a really strong start from Vasta Racer. Not completely dropped Benjamin behind him and of course on the train, so that's probably going to be the primary target for Vasta Racer. Just get a second ahead of your nearest rival, and then you can start to think about saving the tyres and just really not worrying about where anyone is to attack you. It seems like they're all in a bit of a train at the moment. No one really losing any time to one another. It's the gap is beginning to form between Gamer and Wilson though, but beginning lap number 3 is where things will get interesting. So DRS will become active, and drivers are going to be able to they'll be able to utilise it down the straightaway, get a little bit of extra drag reduction.
Yeah, they will indeed, trying to get away that extra drag. There we go, DRS enabled. Don't know why the marshal was flying the blue flag there in the background. Just maybe thought he was a bit bored, seeing as we had a very clean start to the race and not a lot happening to him. Lee Findlay, one of the biggest gainers on that first lap, gaining 2 positions from 19th on the grid. The Scotsman proving that he has got plenty of racecraft. He's pretty close to the back of Matthias, but as you can see, just a DRS train as we always see around this circuit. Jordan very close to the back of the racing point of Benjamin. Benjamin having to defend the inside line there, running slightly wide coming out of turn 4. Jordan's just not got enough of his car alongside to try and threaten Benjamin, but this will definitely be helping Vasta Racer. If Benjamin has to go defensive and has to keep fighting, this might be just what gives the lead Haas car that chance to get 1 second away.
Yeah, that was all stemmed from Benjamin just going a little bit too deep on the brakes in towards turn number 3. And Vasta Racer has taken that opportunity, absolutely ran with it. Benjamin only got 10% of his ERS left, which is really not what you want to see around a circuit like Austria, where it's very, very difficult to charge up the battery. He still has got that DRS range to Vasta Racer in front of him, so that is going to be his saving grace, some sort of lifeline to him throughout the rest of the Grand Prix. He might try and attack as soon as he can, but you can just see he's not close enough. Vasta Racer's done well to put him at a gap where he's not going to be able to close up massively with DRS, and he'll probably try and drop him through the second and third sector to give him that bit of a buffer. There's all types of squirming further back down the order as Walters almost went into the back of Lee Finley, but luckily they've all kept that clean.
Yeah, they have indeed. It's been a very respectful start of the race, which I think after the chaos we've had in the last couple of rounds, they'll be kind of glad about. They'll be glad everyone's managed to get through the first few laps cleanly. Valter's down in 18th at the moment. Both of the Renaults quite a long way down the order, both losing a place on lap 1. Christmas currently in that 15th position, and Blizzard not doing a bad job at the moment. He is on those hard tyres and he's just about keeping it within 1 second off Simo, and the longer he does that for, the better it's going to be for his chances, and the better it's going to be for all of those 9 cars on the alternate strategy that he is dragging along with him. So maybe, just maybe, if a Racing Point is going to challenge for the win of this race, maybe it's not the one that is currently in second position. Still not a lot of changes out at the front. We see Benjamin close onto the back of Vasta Racer. Jordan closing in into the braking zone like a slinky and then stretching out once again as we go onto the straights. And Benjamin saved a tiny bit of his ERS, but this is the problem. If he uses quite a lot of it, when he tries to attack Vasta Racer can just press overtake and pretty much negate the drag reduction system that the Racing Point will be using.
ERS management is very, very important around a circuit like Austria, which is predominantly a power track where you want to be making your moves down the straightaway with the DRS. Seems like a little bit of a gap beginning to form between the top 5 and the rest of the pack game. They're losing a bit of time, but Misha's also losing time to the McLaren, so it seems like both of them somewhat in no man's land, but I think they'd both be very happy with P5 and P6. Company is losing this time. It's going to be inviting Duncan to actually close up to his rear, maybe into the next couple of laps. The DRS drain just so prevalent around the circuit like Austria. 3 back-to-back DRS zones makes it very, very difficult to make a move down the straight, but I don't think Duncan's going to be caring about that one, because he can try into the braking zone, braking just a slight bit later than he could, try and get a cutback move onto the Ferrari car. Last week's race winner, he's not able to capture it this time. by Mish manages to defend that position there, so Duncan, he just came up a little bit short, remains in P8.
Yeah, Duncan's so close to getting onto the back of Mish there, just couldn't get that move done, and Recon and Simo are just dropping back from these drivers ever so slightly at the moment. So we're seeing that thing we see a lot on F1 2020. All the gaps, you'll notice, there's a lot of them, around about half a second, 6/10, 4/10 of a second, and when that happens, it's very difficult to get any overtakes done. So maybe an undercut opportunity for these drivers. Not quite yet, probably at least another 3 or 4 laps before any of them think about coming into the pits. But if you are Duncan, Recon and Simo, it might be worth doing just to try and jump yourself up the order and then just pray that you don't get the puncture later on in the race. Matthias down in the 16th. He's not able to make his way up the order on those hard tyres, and maybe just struggling with a bit of track limits and a bit of grip as well, as he's first driver to pick up a time penalty on this occasion. Vasta Racer still in the lead then, Benjamin second, Jordan in third, and this is probably, apart from Duncan, probably one of the closest battles on the track at the moment for the top 4 places.
Yeah, it seems like they're all just closing up to each other, and then they're not able to make the move stick, but the big advantage does go to the way of Samuel Bean. 90% of his ERS available to him. He's not used any of that up, neither is Wilson. He's also not entirely out of this fight as well, and by all means he could just drive a little bit quicker and catch up to him, which it is certainly in his capability. Lap number 8, drivers will start to think about their pit stop. The earliest we're probably going to see is around about lap 9, lap 10. I think a lot of the drivers will come in lap 11, lap 14. That is going to be their window. Those 4 laps that are going to be oh so precious, but their tyres are starting to show signs of wear. As Samuel Bean, he's actually begun to use his ERS here. He's trying to close up to Jordan down the straightaway, but it's just not enough. The raw power from the battery is not enough to drag him along because of the power that the DRS holds. But Benjamin getting very close to the back of Vasta Racer could invite Jordan to maybe try and make a move. He's 2.5 tenths off the back of the Racing Point car, and that's not going to be enough to close in towards the braking zone. They remain as they were at the beginning of yeah, I think the beginning of the race.
Yeah, they are, especially at the front of the field. I mean, I think the only overtakes we've seen so far were on lap 1. It's beginning to resemble a bit like real Formula 1 at the moment, unfortunately. But no worries. What usually happens in this race is it's all a bit quiet at the start, and then once the strategies start coming to play, that is when you really start seeing the action, and especially at the end of the race. Bit of a slow burner, this one so far, especially compared to the 2 races we've had so far. But I guarantee you, it will liven up at the end of this race. Interestingly, out of those cars in the front 10, one of those has got the highest tyre wear at the moment. He's actually Vastaracer. Being at the front of the field, in clean air, you'd expect maybe him to be doing slightly better on the tyres. Perhaps, though, he's just having to push that little bit harder because he's not got the DRS, and everyone behind him, and I'm not exaggerating at the moment, everyone behind him still is in that 1 second window. Lee Finley just hovering about it at the moment, but getting himself back into it. So will the Vastaracer, will he maybe be one of the first drivers to pit? Because with the field being so close together, you make an early pit stop, you've got plenty of free air in front of you.
You're beginning to lose a bit of feeling in those soft tyres as they do begin to age on. I remember on the last game it was an easy soft and medium, but it is not that easy to do anymore on F1 2020. But yeah, we'll see. They're just about to start the third sector. Well, actually, they are pretty much midway through the third sector. They have to pull off to the right hand side if they are pitted. They have to follow that entry line, which did cause some issues. One of them has made the jump. Samuel Bean going to go probably onto a set of hard compounder tyres to run to the end. It is possible from this distance, but he is the first to pull it into the box, which is certainly going to cause some action down in the pit lane to cover up undercut. I expect probably one of the top 3 at the very least to box, but the trouble is for Jordan, his teammate is right in front of him, and double stacking is a no-go in this game. It's just simply not an option, so he's going to have to extend 1 lap further, or maybe try and undercut his teammate, but it normally is the driver in front who gets preferential treatment. I think Vastaracer will actually come into the pits because he is using up some of his overtake this time by, and just trying to pull a slight gap to Benjamin behind him, because he'll make that all up in the pit lane.
Yeah, he will do indeed. I did see a few of the drivers say this. If you are going that 1 lap longer and you've got plenty of ERS, you might as well burn it all up. You do save a lot in the pits. Samuel being then the first domino to fall in this race, and there is going to be a reaction. You can see there the 2 race leaders. In fact, Benjamin changes his mind partway down that pit straight and getting very close to the back of Vastaracer. So it is our race leader into the pits. Then I think Mish is coming in as well, getting it slowed down for that 80 kilometers per hour, 15-mile-an-hour mark. Now what's going to be interesting is where is Samuel Bean going to come out relative to these drivers. A lot of them still deciding to go on a bit further. Hard tyres for Vastaracer, hard tyres for Mish. What does Samuel Bean be able to do on his hard tyres? Is he going to be able to take the lead of this race here? You can see that grey dot of Vastaracers accelerating on the exit of the pit lane. He's just going to hang on for now. Samuel Bean not able to jump into the lead of this race, but he's probably got a very good chance of jumping both Benjamin and Jordan.
Yeah, both of these two have been fighting through the first sector. Jordan wasn't able to make the move in towards turn number 4, but he was right onto the rear of the Racing Point car. They are pushing for all their lives, just going to burn up the ERS. I think the top 3 are all going to be coming into the pit lane. That will leave Gamer out in the lead because, of course, he can't stack behind Wilson, who dart to the right-hand side just to come into the pit lane at the very last moment, as now they all pull into the box. Vastaracer has managed to cover off, as you say, on Samuel Bean, so you'd expect these guys probably to file out in whereabouts they were before, but it is all dependent on that Williams car, who's had now 1 out lap and 1 complete proper push lap to really secure that undercut position.
Yeah, I think it's going to be extremely close on the exit. Gamer and Recon then, the only 2 soft tyre runners to stay out on circuit. So that puts Blizzard to 3rd, Ashbest to 4th, Suso into 5th position. And it is very close with Samuel Bean and Benjamin there on the run up the hill towards turn 3. We're looking at it at the view from Jordan. Because obviously he had the DRS off the back of Vastaracer and Benjamin didn't have it, Samuel Bean now in a net 2nd position.
Wow, that is quite something, and looks like there's been problems for Christmas. He's just completely stopped on the track. He can't get going for whatever reason. That must be issues with his wheel or something, but he's lost a number of positions. Samuel Bean, though, jumping ahead of Benjamin. That is really, really important for his race, and that knocks that knocks Jordan off the podium. Is now the final two soft runners pulling into the pit lane. Those tyres were pretty much dead at this point. I believe 66 was the highest wear, and that was on the rear left of Gamer's car, so he's going to want to take that set off, and they'll probably file out roundabout where Mish is. Probably Recon be a little bit further behind. But all their fights going down in for this P4 actually on circuit, as Wilson Hughes going up the inside of Jordan. He goes very, very deep on the brakes, and now this could file out Gamer into the fight because he's right behind his teammate there. He's not going to be able to fight that one, but Wilson Hughes very ambitious on the brakes. He wasn't able to take the position off Jordan, but he's going to remain in a net P5.
He is indeed, and we always like it when someone goes for something slightly different on the strategy, and Recon has done that. He's gone for the mediums. Everyone else who came into the pits has gone on for the hard tyres. I know a few of your drivers are wondering why they're boxing so early. We were sort of expecting round about lap 11, lap 12, soft to hard strategy to probably be the one that the drivers are going to go for. They'd rather do that than go longer on the soft tyres and then go on towards the mediums at the end of the race. Recon, though, did go for those medium tyres. The bad news for him, he was speeding in the pit lane, so that is a 5-second penalty, and I'm not sure whether he'll be able to use those medium tyres stuck in this DRS train. But it is Blizzard then, who's now leading this race on lap 14. How long is he going to go into this race? And all those drivers behind him, those on the mediums, probably obviously expecting to, if they're going to go medium hard, which I don't think is going to really be a fantastic strategy for these drivers to go for, probably in the next couple of laps. If they're going from medium to soft, around about lap 20, at lap 21, they'll be having to stretch their tyres onto. No one going for any dives this time around. Now it's all about these drivers on the hard tyres, obviously just trying to save them as much as possible.
Yeah, Recon's actually onto the back of Duncan. I'm not too sure what position this is for a net, but it is 7th. It's 18th on circuit, and right onto the outside line. Here comes the Dutchman of Recon on that fresh set of medium compact tyres. Duncan closing the door, but he runs deep into the corner. Now they're still wheel to wheel. Recon making up that position. Lost a little bit of time to Mish in the process of that move, but it is hard racing between the pair of them. Recon moving up to 18th position. He costed a lot of ERS making that move stick, but that was going on roundabout. I think turn number 3 he went for the send, but it didn't end up paying to go for an alternate route around the outside.
Yeah, he did have to, and Ash Best going for a move as well around the outside at turn 3, manages to pull that move off on Blizzard, who will have the DRS to try and fight back. I don't think the Racing Point has got a good enough exit, so now that they're getting out of the DRS train at the front, Ash able to use that little bit of extra grip. He's still got on those medium tyres to take the lead of this race. Got his first podium since F1 2018, you might remember, at the first race at Bahrain Short in Austria. It's got some similarities with Bahrain Short. It's an extremely short track indeed, extremely high pace, and he's not doing so bad at the moment. He is now leading his race, but all these top 10 drivers obviously still yet to pit. We'll quickly get up what the penalty situation is at the moment. 3 seconds for Matthias, 5 seconds for Recon. Everyone keeping it fairly clean on this occasion. And Vasta Racer did pull a bit of a gap over Samuel Bean once he came out of the pits, but it sort of stabilised at that half a second point again.
Yeah, that is probably just the DRS keeping Samuel Bean in contention. He's not using up any of his overtakes, really trying to attack this race. He just wants to play this one safe. But Samuel Bean, he's proved himself, I think, as definitely being a top runner. Of course, there was controversy of his win in Bahrain, where it was a wild card circuit, but he has managed to fight his way into a second position spot in this race. Recon trying to send up the inside of Mish. It's not quite worked out this time by, but he's getting very aggressive onto the back of the Ferrari car, using up the last of his overtaking. He only got 2% in that AlphaTauri car. It's not going to be enough to attack in towards turn number 4, but it's getting quite racy for the medium runner. He probably won't be able to get to the end on that set, but he is going to try as hard as he can to push them for as much time as he can, really.
Yeah, indeed, especially now that he's stuck in all this traffic. It's going to be extremely hard. Lee Finley picking up a penalty as well. Vasta Racer, he's kept it absolutely clean, no warnings whatsoever. A fantastic job by the German at this moment in time. 5 tenths ahead of Samuel Bean, 10 seconds I should say, off the lead of this race, which looks like it is going to change hands once again. Blizzard gets ahead of Ash Best down towards turn 3. You've got Recon and Mish battling over that 17th position at this moment in time. And you can see Recon, he's tried again, but because he's run out of ERS, he's not been able to get ahead of Mish. This is exactly the problem with going for the medium tyres when you're a bit further down the field. You've got to do lots of overtaking to make it work, and we saw that in the first stint. It's extremely hard around this track to get any moves done, although we are seeing now Suso and Hughes battling for 3rd and 4th place round the outside. At turn 6 isn't going to work, unfortunately, for Hughes, so he does stay in 4th position. But Recon, he's stuck in all this traffic. He's not able to use those medium tyres.
Yeah, and I think he's probably going to be kicking himself about that strategy, but he has still got opportunities later in the race. Safety car is definitely possible around here. He's still stuck behind Meech at the moment. Blizzard managing to stretch a gap a little bit to Ash Best behind him. That's probably because those hard tyres are completely kicked into gear, and he's certainly going to be charging ahead of them. Those medium tyres on the car of Ash Best are really struggling at the moment, so I'd expect him to maybe try and come into the pits very soon. Of course, that would mean as Walters has been hit. Walters getting hit by Will G, I believe that was Will LG, and sent him into a half spin there. And his bad luck continues. I don't know if it was moving the brakes. I just caught the end of that, but I don't think he'll be too happy about that one. I'd expect him maybe to try and undercut, go onto the hards, and push them as much as they can.
Yeah, Renault, it's not going well for them at the moment. 9th and 10th place. Vastavasa gets ahead of Christmas, who fair play to Christmas. That is, I think, smart driving to try and get as little involved in this battle as possible. Just letting all those cars through, which I'm sure will be a delight for Vastavasa and all those further down the order. And he gets himself a 3-second time penalty for that, which seems a bit harsh, because I'm fairly sure you don't gain any time in a Formula 1 car when you are off in the gravel. Blizzard, though, still in the lead of this race. We are at the halfway point, and we promised you it would start livening up as the strategies came to play. Ash Best 2nd, Suso in 3rd. They're all yet to pit, though. Net leaders of this race, Vastavasa, Samuel Bean and Benjamin. And they are starting to catch up to this traffic, which might just make things a bit more awkward for them. And Samuel Bean's really catching up to Vastavasa here. He's down the inside into turn 3. Later on the brakes, a lot more ERS all of a sudden from the Williams driver. He takes the lead of this race, and Vastavasa, he's not got anything to fight back with.
Yeah, he did have the DRS on the Williams car, but it was not enough. He's actually hit him. He's got damage. He's lost his end plate, and now he's almost getting sent into a spin. Benjamin, where can he pull out on this one? But Vastavasa going into the back, he's got 44% on that left front wing, and that is disaster for him. He's got to pit. He is completely well, he's just gone too deep, I think, and you have to adapt to the car in front of you, and that has not worked out. He's gonna pull surely off to the right hand side. Well, Benjamin's not going to make it easy for him to defend because he goes right up the inside into turn number 9. But it doesn't seem like Vastavasa wants to come into the pits. Casper, though, does pull into the box, but disaster for Vastavasa in this race.
I wonder if that's because that's really the first time we've seen Vastavasa have to go into the braking zone with the DRS. Everyone else has pretty much had it at some point in this race, but he was in the lead, and the first time he's had it, he's just been caught out by that car under the brakes, gone straight into the back of Samuel Bean, and now that he's got that less grip, he's into the wall again. This is an absolute disaster for Vastavasa. It was looking fairly straightforward victory when he come out of the pits. It looked like he had everything in control. Now he's down in 18th with some damage. I think any chances of getting a point have been absolutely ruined for him. Well, that's now Samuel Bean into the net lead of this race. Benjamin is 10th for net 2nd. Jordan in 11th place, so a net 3rd position at this moment in time. But Samuel Bean, he was the first driver to pit on these hard tyres, so towards the end, he's probably going to have to be a bit more careful than those behind him. Already, he's got about 8% more wear on these tyres than Benjamin, Jordan, Wilson, Gamer, and the rest of the cars behind him. We are now starting to see some more medium runners come into the pits. Christmas has put the softs on. Casper's gone from the hard to the mediums, and it's going to be softs for Eust and Lee Finlay.
Vastavasa speeding into the pit lane. That is his race done and dusted. He retires the car in the pits. He doesn't even want to try and salvage anything out of this one. Really unfortunate for him that it has gone that way. Suso and Ash Best wheel to wheel coming down the straightaway. Suso, I think I think these guys are going to start thinking about their pit stops. That's why they're all battling out on those medium tyres. But Matthijs on a set of hards. He's still going to be going into this race just that little bit longer. He has a half look on Ash Best, and he luckily backed out because there was no chance of an overtake through turn number 6 there. At best though, he is struggling quite heavily on those tyres. Maybe Matto's trying to look to the inside line to completely put Asbest off, but it hasn't worked. Matto's going to soar around the outside because those two cars are going to be pulling off into the pit lane here. So the tides are turning for the tyres, and all the medium runners now off and into the pits as the problems continue for Christmas, because he's slow once again. I can't think of it being his own driving. I just think it's going to be some sort of wheel issue.
Yeah, I mean, earlier on when we were on board with Christmas, it did just look like in Formula 1 sometimes when you see them have an electrical failure. There was no throttle, no brakes, no steering. He was just struggling massively, really, at this moment in time. Hughes has come out of the pits. He's now actually the lead car, sort of on that fully alternate strategy. And look at all this battling we've got on behind. We've got 3 wide with Casper, Lee Finlay and Suso on the run down towards turn number 3. Suso down the inside. Christmas retires in the pits. Maybe the best thing to do if he's having wheel problems. Suso just about coming on top from this battle on the first occasion. Lee Finlay's going to try and go all the way around the outside on those soft tyres. Not able to do so. And Casper, unsurprisingly, dropping the back a bit on the mediums. Fantastic battling from all these drivers, who are, of course, only about 5 seconds now off the back of the pack of those who came into the pits earlier on. Blizzard, Matthias and Will now come into the pits, and you'd expect Blizzard to probably just come out ahead of these guys and have very good tyres towards the end of the race. Soft tyres on to his car. Lee Finlay gets multiple warnings, and where is he going to come out relative to used? And I think actually the power of the undercut, especially with the difference between the soft and the hard tyres, you can see how strong it is there. Blizzard is going to drop a long way down the order, behind Hughes, behind Suso, behind Lee Finlay, Casper and Ash Best, as well as Recon. I don't know whether he's gone very deep at turn 3. Has he got some wheel issues? Because he seems very slow off that corner.
He's got a bit of wing damage on that AlphaTauri car to his right front end plate, so he must have hit the back one. I think it would have probably Duncan, I'd say he would have hit, or maybe Mish. Yeah, it's just completely end of his day, I'd say, because he's got 1.2 seconds to use the phone. We'll see that completely clatter down, and now it is 7.5 tenths. And Recon, I think his day is going to be done for the points as the final driver to pull into the pit stop. It is Matthijs on that set of hard tyres, going to be taking them off, but presumably a set of the soft Recon is going to be letting everyone through here. But now the net lead becomes into the actual lead. Suso from Benjamin, from Jordan, and then 2 McLarens on 4th and 5th.
Now, I don't want to jinx anyone at the moment, but 13 laps to go. Samuel Bean's done 13 laps on his tyres, 43% on that rear left. Now, as the fuel burns down, they won't be putting as much wear in, but he's still going to be at about that 80% point. And we saw what happened to Wouters, I think it was, at the first race of the season at Bahrain Shore. Anything above 75% is usually one car who is the unlucky one. In fact, Samuel Bean nearly losing it coming out of turn 4 there. Very lucky that he just managed to hold it. I think if that was me, I'd have been definitely heading towards the wall and banging on my steering wheel. But these drivers are quite a bit more skilled than me, and that's why I stick to the commentating. Samuel Bean leading, Benjamin in second, Jordan in third position. The 2 McLarens looking good for that Constructors' Championship at the moment in 4th and 5th position. And Gamer on the slightly fresher tyres. I wonder if we will see him making some moves towards the end of this race.
Absolutely. Of all the drivers in this train, had got the freshest tyres. He fitted around about the same lap. I think he fitted on the same lap as Mish, but for some reason it's showing a little bit more wear on those, a little bit more lap on the hard tyres of Mish. But I guess that is just me being a little bit silly. But Benjamin runs the back of Samuel. Not going to want to try and make a move, I'd say, this early on, because they'll lose that luxury of the DRS down the straightaway. So that is kind of the mind games that the drivers play. They'd rather sit in the DRS train than fight it out on circuit. They do have to get a move because those soft tyres on Suso and Lee Finlay, they're going to be charging to catch up. Those tyres won't last forever, so they've got to put a lot of wear to catch up to the hards and try and attack them as soon as they can. So you'd expect them in the coming laps to be right to the rear of the top 7.
Yeah, you would indeed. His things are starting to look a bit better for Used in this race. No points so far, of course, this season. Has actually, I think, finished both of the races. 12th in Bahrain and 12th in Singapore as well after he got his penalty removed. It looks like it's going to be a lot better than that on this occasion. And the good news for him is Simo's slightly off the back of this group, so he shouldn't have a hard job getting ahead of him. And by the time he catches up to some of those other drivers, maybe their tyres will be a bit more worn out. So you have the second Renault retiring from this race. It's been a bit of a nightmare for all of the Shizou drivers, really. Wouters and Christmas out of this race, and Recon obviously having his damage. Blizzard has managed to get past Ash Best, so he's now up into 13th. Casper will be his next target, and he might be able to even think about a move here down towards turn 4. Casper just far enough ahead, goes very wide though on the exit of the corner. Is Blizzard going to be able to use the extra grip of those soft tyres on the rear of that Racing Point? Black Mercedes versus pink Mercedes, and I think it is going to be the pink Mercedes who eventually is going to come out on top. They're still battling, a bit of contact between them, and that might give Ash a run actually on the Racing Point.
Slight bit of damage to Blizzard's car, only 6%. It's not going to be anything too impactful in performance, but it might just be enough to dissettle that car. As Will LG getting very loose on the exit of the final corner, could push him back in towards Matthijs. But yeah, Blizzard suffering from that wing damage. Actually, Matthijs went into the back of Will LG as well, and he picked up 6% wing damage. So it seems like they are all struggling a bit. Here comes Iron going off ahead as Suso moves up the inside, as Blizzard also making moves. So they're all getting their tyres completely rubbered in here, and they're trying as hard as they can. As here comes Duke back on Suso. He's going to maybe make a send it towards turn number 4. He had to think about it. He pulled out the slipstream, but he just hanged back for the time being.
Yeah, just deciding to maybe go for that a bit later on. Ash Best and Casper now battling for 13th and 14th place. Casper obviously deciding that he didn't fancy taking his hards long enough to go onto a set of the soft tyres. He's going on the mediums, and he's sort of a cork in the bottle now in this lower part of the midfield. Ash is going to get that move done, I think. Just about manages to hang on. Will's now going to try and send it down the inside of 1. Can he go the inside of 2? That is a dreadful camera angle, Codemasters, there, as he does eventually get that move done. Fantastic driving from Will to get ahead of not only Casper, to get ahead of Ash as well. Brilliant opportunism.
Absolutely, that is what Will G does best, and he's managed to seek that opportunity up into 13th. He has got penalty to his name, but possibly points are on the horizon for the AlphaTauri driver. The only team without any points on the board as I'm talking about AlphaTauri. It seems like Recon's having more problems, but back up front, it seems like Benjamin's starting to get a move on the back of Samuel Bean, as Suso manages to pick up his first hard runner. He manages to get past Suso, and this is really going to be the start of the beginning of the end, I'd say, for the hard runners in their position on circuit.
Yeah, especially them at the lower end of the order. Things aren't going to be looking too great for them. Things are looking fantastic though for the Williams team at the moment. Samuel Bean in the lead of this race. 8 laps to go at the end of this one. Suso on those soft tyres. He's relieved car on those in 8th position. So things are really starting to look up for the WSO boys. And maybe, just maybe, they might be leading the Constructors' Championship and maybe even a Drivers' Championship at the end of the night. We'll have to see. Lee Findlay now down the inside of Simo. He takes that 10th position, and he'll be hoping to break away, of course, because he does have a penalty. Benjamin getting really close to Samuel Bean. I think that's more because he's actually defending from Jordan. It's really heating up at the front of the field. Who's going to be able to get the better exit here? Is it going to be Benjamin? Is it going to be Jordan? That has still got a bit of his front wing alongside the inside of the Racing Point, who goes defensive, and nothing changes at the front of the field. But all this battling is going to help those out behind. You can see how close Wilson uses now. He's got plenty of ERS, just can't get alongside into 6 and 7 to try and get this move done. Suso really closing up to the back of these drivers now. He's going to have DRS next time around. Matthias picks up another penalty. 7 laps to go. We said things were going to start heating up in this race, and I think it is going to be a frenetic final 7 here.
Yeah, of course, those hard runners have been on those tyres for a very, very long time in this race, as Wilson Hughes wants to go for the move on Jordan. He's pulling off to the right-hand side. He tried for the move a couple of laps ago as well, but he decides to back out this time by maybe trying to get him on the run-up towards turn number 2 and turn number 3. Seems like he's got quite a bit of time going for that opportunistic move. What about Duncan on the back of Gamer? He's going to brake very, very late up the inside of the McLaren car, and now they're still wheel to wheel on the exit of the corner. Who's got the better track? It's going to be Duncan moving up into 6th position, sending it from a long, long way back on Gamer. He can still respond it towards turn number 4. Duncan going very defensive. Gamer might try and get him on the cutback here, but it is Duncan maintaining P5, getting down into P6, and now this is where everything's going to be changing because Suso, 3.5 tenths back. That is going to be continually closing. He is 2 tenths from Mish behind him.
Yeah, I think that's for Daniel Ricciardo's seal of approval on that move from Duncan. Fantastic move from him as, Matthias in the wall, leaves the session, so that's no points for him, and it's really looking like no points for Mercedes at this moment in time. And Simo a long way off the track as he drops down the order. Got a 4th place last time out. I think he's going to need a safety car or a minor miracle to try and score any points on this occasion, as Casper is now going to work his way past the Ferrari driver. So he is in 15th place. The other Ferrari driver losing positions as well. Suso's managed to get ahead. Youst, he's got past one. Is he going to try and have a go at the Williams as well? Maybe taking after his teammates' dive bomb. Suso nearly went into the back of Gamer there. Mish still trying to get involved in this. We've got the Alfa Romeo and the Williams going side by side on the way down towards turn 4, and Mish thinks, hang on, I fancy some of this. I've got the inside line. I might be on the older tyres. Very late on the brakes from the Ferrari. Can't get it stopped in time, and it is Youst who comes out ahead. Suso in 8th position. Mish fought hard, but had to stay in 9th position in the end there. Ash and Will battling the senior team, getting ahead of the junior team there. The Red Bull of Ash in 12th. Will stays in 13th position. It's now Youst back as the lead runner of those on the soft tyres, but his softs are older than everyone else who's got the soft tyres. As that's Lee Findlay around.
Lee Findlay trying to send it around the outside of Mish, could not get that one paid off, and Blizzard has come off the worst out of that one because he's got a huge amount of wing damage. So what looked like such a good opportunity for Blizzard, who has won around here before, has now unfortunately completely dwindled 76% on that right front, and I think that was not at all his fault. I think Lee Findlay maybe was a bit opportunistic and a bit audacious to go around the outside at turn number 9, but it just was not meant to be, and it has completely resulted in Blizzard losing all of that time. And I think Lee Findlay probably not going to be too happy about that one either. The move not paying off for him.
No, Lee, that move not paying off cost himself a couple of positions, cost Blizzard arguably a whole lot more with that massive amount of front wing damage. I don't think as much Blizzard's going to be able to do now in this race. Probably going to drop well outside the points, might as well pit and go for the fastest lap of this race. But things are getting pretty close up front, and Blizzard is still actually trying to hang it out on track, and just to the frustration of all these drivers behind. You can see there Casper managing to get his way past Will.
Round. Oh my goodness me. Casper losing it on exit, and Will LG with nowhere to go has unfortunately spun that. There might have been a bit of desync between them there, but Will LG.
Now Lee Findlay's off.
Lee Findlay's off.
Lee Findlay's off.
What is happening?
I think as he was trying to get past Blizzard there, they've made contact. I think Ash Best somehow, out of all that, at least one Red Bull driver, I suppose, came good out of it. So Ash Best manages to be the best one to come out of that. He's in 7th position. Looks like he's going to be picking up a few more points. Suso has managed to get back ahead of Hughes at the front of the field. Samuel Bean, he's got plenty of ERS. He's got quite a lot of fuel. He's got 70% tyres, and this is where we start to see some punctures. So things are going to liven up, I think, in the next few laps of this race. Those on the softs have sort of hit a McLaren wall in the shape of Gamer. They'll be sick to death of Husky Chocolate by the end of this race, if not been able to get past Gamer. But all sorts happening further down the order, and this happens when there's a mix of strategy. This happens when some of the drivers pick up a bit of damage, it gets a bit of frustration, and they're not able to make the moves. Lee Findlay spinning around. Obviously Matthias had problems earlier on. Will has now had to come into the pits. Blizzard is hanging on with that broken front wing, but you can see how much he's struggling. As Simo actually struggling a bit more with his brakes. He goes straight on coming out of turn number 1. I thought for a second he might have a puncture. He went that far straight on. Casper, he's had to come into the pits. It's turned into a bit of a race of attrition, this one, and Benjamin, he's going to try and make sure that he's at the front of the field now. Down the inside into turn 4 he goes. Samuel Bean locks up. You don't want to be doing that much on older tyres. Just holds on to this place for now. 2.5 laps to go. Stay right where you are. This is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, everything has sort of settled down further back down the order, and I think now the race is really going to begin for the win of the Grand Prix at the front of the order. Samuel Bean about to get to puncture territory, 75% on that rear right tyre. Benjamin's got about 10% on him coming on to now the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. It is Samuel Bean going to fence it to the inside, but how much longer can he hold on to that lead? With Benjamin getting right up to the rear of him, locking up through the first corner, could maybe invite Jordan into the fray. But now down the straightaway, using up his overtake, he's got 50% left to spare. Now onto the rear of the Williams car to the outside line, coming in towards turn number 3. He's gone brake later on the brakes, and now Jordan has actually snuck up the inside of the Racing Point castle, but it's not worked out for him. And Jordan could also seek an opportunity to go for the lead of the Grand Prix to the outside line. Samuel Bean defending to the right side, getting him on the cutback here. Here comes Jordan. He's going to get the traction down, and he's going to take the lead of the Grand Prix.
Jordan takes the lead then. Fantastic move, took advantage of Samuel Bean and Benjamin. Probably did what you're supposed to do if you're the third car in this battle. You just wait for the two in front to have a tiny bit of contact. He was there to take advantage, and he's got that extra grip of the tyres to probably maybe just streak away with this race now, because Samuel Bean is a bit low on ERS. He will have the DRS to have a go at 3 separate occasions. Turn 1's probably not going to happen. Turn 3's a maybe. Turn 4 as well. They're going to be the 2 corners to watch all the action. Final lap of this race. Final 10 corners, final 9 corners for the leaders, and if anything, Samuel Bean's going to have to do a lot more defending than attacking here on this run down towards turn 3, but he has got the DRS just to help him hold on to that position. Of course, Simo picks up another penalty that won't really knock him out of the points, but might knock him a bit further down in the order. Look how close Benjamin is, though, to the back of Samuel Bean. Surely he's going to go for a move here. Around the outside, it's going to have to be into turn 4. Later on the brakes, can he make it stick all the way around the outside? If he can do, he'll have the inside for the next corners at turn 6. What a move by Benjamin. He's up into second, but probably feels, though, that he should have got a win in this race. Now, will the tyres hold on for Samuel Bean? Wilson nearly goes into the back of the Williams there, coming around the final few corners, but in the lead of this race. We thought a Haas might have ended up winning this race. It looked like Vastarese. He broke his front wing, and it's going to be Jordan who takes advantage of the chaos in front of him to win in Austria. Benjamin is second. Samuel Bean's tyres hold on to take third position. Wilson, who's defending champion, by far his best result of the season, in fourth. Duncan, Gamer, Suso, Mish, Hughes getting his first points of the season, and Ash Best rounding out the top 10. Blizzard tried valiantly to stay in contact with that broken front wing, but he's going to end up in 11th place. Casper, Lee Findlay and Matthias will be the final finishers. What a brilliant end to that race. We sometimes say, I do definitely, that you don't want to be the third man in the DRS train. Jordan didn't seem to have any problems with that today. Keeps it nice and clean. Well-deserved victory.
Yeah, and I think that was a calculated move from Jordan as well to position himself in that third place in the train. He didn't want to be right behind Samuel Bean, because he'd have had to do all the dirty work himself if he wanted to take the lead. He just let all the other drivers overtake each other and get into contact, and it ended up working out for him, and he managed to take the win with 70% as his highest wear on his rear left. Samuel Bean surviving with 81% on that rear left tyre, and I think he'll be happy that he's taking home the podium at the end of that one. But it is Jordan coming out on top, Benjamin in second, and Samuel Bean rounding off in third.
Yeah, I can see that. I think everyone on the podium will just be relieved about all that. It was a fantastic race. Jordan takes the victory. Benjamin is second. Samuel Bean in third. Wilson Hughes, he'll be happy. He was the one who really said, I want a straightforward race. Well, he didn't really get his wish, but at least he got a good result in fourth position. Duncan in the Alfa Romeo, good result from him to get in the top 5. Gamer in 6th position. Another points finish. Every race so far this season, we've seen both McLarens in the points, and actually, as we have a quick look at the live championship standings, it's not enough to keep him first in the championship. That's now going to be Samuel Bean, but Gamer is definitely still up there. In fact, I think the tight standings that we're getting might be slightly wrong. I think Gamer is actually still just on top of the order. Suso in 7th, Mish in 8th, Hust in 9th, also getting his first points. Ash holds on to 10th, Blizzard in 11th, Simo 12th, Casper with the fastest lap of the race, at least some pride to take home from this, in 13th. Lee Findlay, his first race of the season, could have ended up in a lot more, in 14th. Matthias was 15th, Will retired in the pits, and then Recon, Valters, Christmas, and perhaps most importantly, Vasta Racer, the retirements in what was we said it would be a slow burner, this race. I don't think we expected the action to quite kick off that much.
Yeah, it all really began to change about lap 34, lap 33 is where everything just completely turned on its head in that race. But it was Jordan ending up coming out on top in that one. I think we'll be able to get them in for an interview. I'll just put in the Twitter chat the top three if they do want to come in for an interview. They are more than welcome to enter the waiting room.
Yeah, they are indeed. Hopefully they will, because I want to see, well, obviously what their opinions were in this race. And I think in an ideal situation, if we had plenty of time, if we didn't have to get up for school and work tomorrow morning, we could probably interview the entire field. It seems like everyone had some story to tell in that race. So much action, and so many drivers are probably going to be thinking what might have been none so more than our pole sitter, Vasta Racer. It all looked in his hands. He was looking fairly comfortable when he came out of the pits, but his first attempt after being passed by Samuel Bean just got it wrong on the brakes, straight into the back of the Williams. Just a complete driver error.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. I have asked the drivers if they do want to go for an interview. I don't believe we had Samuel Bean when he won in Bahrain, but I think this really does prove that he has changed quite a lot in his pace. If you remember last time in season 26, Samuel Bean was nowhere near as good as he was. I think he probably scored more points in these first three races. One of them he didn't even start. Than he did the entirety of his F1 campaign in season 26.
That's not bad. That's not a bad. It shows improvement, obviously, over the game cycle, which I think is what everyone would want. We have got some of the drivers then popping in for the interviews, and we are going to start with the man who claims his first victory of the season. As we said, it was looking like a Haas was going to take the victory in that race, and in the end, it was yourself, Jordan, who a brilliant move on the penultimate lap to not only get ahead of Benjamin, but to get ahead of Samuel Bean at the same time.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice move, to be honest. Very pleased.
I mean, tell us about that race, because you seem to spend a lot of it, as most of the drivers do in Austria, stuck in a DRS train. Was it always your plan to wait that long in the race and just see how things panned out and maybe save a bit more DRS and save a bit of fuel and tyres?
Yeah, I know that the last 3 laps were a bit sketchy with tire wear, so I overcut it, and then I was just waiting for an opportunity to pop out, and I took it pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah, you did. You took it absolutely fantastically well. This is really obviously kickstarted maybe your championship campaign. You had a pretty good time last time out of it in season 27, obviously managing to pick up a victory. Do you hope that you can maybe get more victories across the rest of the races this season?
Well, of course I hope to, but yeah, it's always everyone is it's the end of the game, so everyone is really close to each other very fast. So it would be harder than any season I've raced before to win races.
Yeah, we can definitely see how close it is out there. Dan, do you have any questions for our race winner?
Yeah, I've just got to ask. Now that we are a couple of races into the season and you are quite some way up the championship order at the moment, who would you consider to be sort of your main rivals coming into the rest of the season?
Oh, for sure, Samu Bean. He was already very quick in Bahrain, short. And again today was really strong. Of course, you have Valentin, faster racer, who is very quick. Yeah, to be honest, I think there are like 15 drivers who can win this championship. It's so close.
Wow. Yeah, it was awesome stuff that you've managed to pick up this win, and hopefully you can spend some time to celebrate it now.
Yeah, we'll let you get off, Jordan. I could already see all the pretty much caps lock central in the VSR chat on this occasion. So we'll let you get off, Jordan, and celebrate your first win of the season.
Well, thank you, guys.
Now going to bring someone who's actually getting his first podium of the year and his first podium in F1, the reigning F2 champion. Another race where he's managed to score points. It is CRG Benjamin who pops out of the interview room exactly as I drag him in there. So whether that's a a sign of frustration. We know what F1 drivers are like. They don't always want to be interviewed, but, sometimes they have to be. Benjamin, fantastic race from you today. So close to getting that first victory in the top tier.
Yes, very close. Yeah, I enjoyed the race. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Tell us about that. Then final couple of laps. We saw you closing up to Samuel Bean, getting extremely close. He just ended up both going a bit wide coming out of turn 3, and that obviously gave Jordan the chance to get past both of you.
Yeah, I tried to get somewhere, I think, on lap 34 already. Then I stayed behind for another lap, and I tried it again on lap 35. But yeah, I went to the outside, and I should have waited a little bit longer, and then I could have got the win maybe. But yeah, still P2. I'm really happy.
Yeah, still a fantastic result from yourself. You've adapted well to the top tier so far. 7th place in Bahrain, 6th place in Singapore, a 2nd place obviously here in Austria. Do you think over the rest of the season you could maybe turn that F2 championship into an F1 championship?
Well, it's a little bit too early for me, but I'll just do my best for the rest of the season and try to score points every race.
Your best is all you can do, obviously. Dan, any questions for Benjamin?
Yeah, of course. You say that that you want to be scoring points in every race, and so far you have been doing that. I believe you're one of the only drivers actually to probably score in every race so far. With round 4 being Belgium, how do you feel about that circuit? Do you think you can maybe increase that podium position and take a win there?
I don't know. I need to see. Last season was pretty decent, I think, in F2. Yeah, I like the track, but I can't say anything right now. I didn't practice it.
Yeah, that is fair enough. But hopefully you can have a very strong performance like you have today, and hopefully you can meet all your goals. But really well done today, and I'm wishing the best for you for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Benjamin. Best of luck for the rest of the season. Well done on getting your first podium as well.
Thanks.
We're now going to bring in the man who, for quite a long period actually, after Vasta Race's retirement, looked like he was going to end up taking the victory in that race just to tire woes towards the end. Was able to still finish, was able to get his 2nd podium of the season after a win in Bahrain, and it is Samuel Bean. So close to getting that win today. In the end, the tyres just struggling towards the end. Hello, can you hear me?
Uh-oh.
Hello. No?
Hello?
No? No? Yes? No?
Uh,
Do you listen?
yes, I can hear you loud and
Okay,
clear.
okay. Yes, okay, perfect.
Just saying, congratulations on getting another podium. So close, though, to being the 2nd win of the season. Were your tyres just too worn at the end to defend from Jordan and Benjamin?
Yeah. And it was a incredible race. And yeah, and I started before the race, and I was ahead Jordan, and I decided to stop 2 laps earlier and to do an undercut, and it worked. And yeah, later I was behind Buster, but I don't know what happened to him that he started to lose time, and yeah, I overtake him, and yeah, I was leading almost the entry race, and I thought that Jordan and Benjamin will try to overtake me in the final laps, and yeah, they did it. The last laps was so chaotic. I was trying to maintain the first position, but finally I couldn't hold the first position, and yeah, finally P3.
Yeah, P3 is still a good result. I think it has put you up to 2nd in the championship at the moment. Obviously, season 26, when you were last in F1, wasn't ideal for you. You've come back after a season in F2 a lot stronger. Do you think that's just getting used to the game, or has anything else changed about the way you prepare for these league races?
And yeah, now this last month, I improved so much, competing in more leagues than before. Also, I'm more motivated than in the season 26. So yeah, I think that these are the motives of my improvement, and yeah, I'm very happy, for the big improvement that I did.
Yeah, definitely seems to have worked so far. Dan, do you have any questions for Samuel?
Yeah, just got to mention that, of course, it was last time you were in season 26, you were in F1. Uh, it wasn't the best title campaign for you, could you say? But really, what has been your method to improving? How have you gotten so much better than you were in season 26?
And what I don't listen good.
Uh, I've just got to ask, like, it is a bit of a tough question. I do apologize, but
Mm,
there were a lot of doubts about you coming into this season. So,
mm.
really, do you think you could be challenging for the championship?
Yeah, yes. I won the first race, and today I was almost um, all the entry, all the race leading. And the last laps I lose the first position, but yeah, I finished at P3, and now I'm P2 in the leadings, I think. And yeah, if I continue with these results, I think that I am I can fight for the title.
Absolutely, really well done in this race, and hopefully for the rest of the season you could be fight for more wins.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, congratulations, Samuel. Been a fantastic performance from yourself
Mm,
today, and I agree with Dan. You definitely looks like you will be fighting towards the title at the end of the season.
yeah, thank you. See you next week.
Well, quite an exciting race. Quite a mixed up order at various different points. Jordan ended up taking his first win of the season. We've had 3 different winners so far. I think we've only had 2 drivers who've managed to finish on the podium twice. That now being Samuel Bean and Gamer. It's all looking good heading towards Belgium.
Absolutely, it's Belgium is a circuit where the drivers they'll be pretty tough around there. I think a lot of drivers do really love tracks like Belgium. It is going to be the longest on the calendar in terms of lap time. We'll be expecting low 1 minute 40s for pole, and if some drivers do have it in them, a potential for a 39, a high 39. I'm not too sure about it, but possibly they could put out all kinds of surprises.
I don't even want to think about what kind of corners I'd have to cut at Belgium to get anywhere close to a 139. That would be an absolutely epic qualifying lap, and you will be able to see the Belgian Grand Prix next time out with the lower tiers on F11 of F12. They are on a Thursday. The mid tiers F8 to F10 are on a Sunday, and the top 7 tiers on a Monday, with ourselves, of course, taking you through the action at 8 p.m. There is some more racing before that, though. Drivers are going to have to use their brains in the Braun BGP 01 around China tomorrow for a wet feature race and a dry sprint race in the Formula Classic Championship. So make sure to check that out. Make sure to check out all the rest of the races as well on the PSGL channel. But after another fantastic race here in the F1 tier, things are really starting to heat up in the championship. Jordan takes his first win of the season. Gamer hangs on to that championship lead, but it is just closing ever so slightly. Thank you so much for everyone for commenting and interacting in the chat. Thank you everyone for watching, and for myself and Dan, we will see you next time around for the Belgian Grand Prix. Goodbye.